Hello and welcome to the Faith Building Podcast, episode 42, with your lovely and amazing host, Vladi Kuna.
And Norman Gräter. Hi.
Hi, guys. Today's topic is something that I'm currently reading, and it's a book by the wonderful Mel Robbins. And at least in German, it's called the Let Them Theory, which basically is also more or less the English version. I think the original book is also called the Let Them Theory. And we want to touch on that real quick in today's episode because it's something very important that I found out while reading. As you know, if you're in the study, if you're doing those things since many, many months or even years, there's hardly something brand new coming out. And still, sometimes it helps to get reminded by little tiny things that could make your life easier. And with Mel's book, I had 2-3 moments like that, and to wrap it up in one or two sentences, what she writes about, she says the let them theory is let them, the others, do what they please. Very often we get frustrated by the politics, by neighbors, by spouses, by co-workers, by bosses, by whoever. And you get emotionally involved, you get furious, and you probably get it on your heart, or you get burned out or whatever, because you try to solve something and change something that you cannot change. We cannot change other people, we cannot change the politics, we cannot change the gas prices, we can only change our approach towards it. And Mel's idea about is whenever something happens on the outside, done or said or not done or not said by other people, just say yourself, let them, and then you add what it is. Let them be furious, let them be angry, let them be quiet, let them be frustrated. And the second part of it is let me. So first is let them be frustrated, and let me be cool, let me be learning from this experience. And she goes in a lot of details, of course, in those two sentences. But I realized that they really help, and it really works if you are aware that other people are just, what she also writes in the book, big children, that most people are stuck with an 8-year-old inside, and if they get furious, and if they get loud, or if they get quiet, it's the reaction of a small little child because they never learned how to react or work with their own emotion, and just as an adult, they are living that out. So we want to speak about let them and let me. Vladi, what's your point of view on if somebody bothers you? Does it still bother you, or do you have your own system or method where you say, I don't really care, I continue living my life as beautiful as it is? Or do you get really pinched and sometimes you explode?
You know, it's funny because I think the closest people to you, like partners and kids, are the only one I'd say I can't still handle when they pinch me. And I'm sure I pinch them too. But genuinely, I've trained myself not to worry about it and separate the being from the behavior. Because, I mean, this is our core of the study. And for all these years, it's like we're all spiritual beings having a human experience. And we all have things that we have to handle. And somebody works on themselves and grow and gets better attitude, and somebody doesn't. What I'm finding challenging, and I'm going to say that lovingly, is the more your consciousness raises, the less you want to be around those people where there's this, you realize how people spend time and energy and get upset about things that we can't change. And also, one of the affirmations I've used for years is this, and this is actually by Jack Canfield, says, I don't really care what other people think or say about me, because I know I'm a worthwhile person. And it all really goes back to one thing, and that is self-love. So if we feel we're not good enough, then all these things pops up and we can't handle it. Our attitude is worse. So it's really, and it's not selfish. I remember I thought self-love is selfish because I'd rather love kids and I'd rather love everyone else and family and friends and people around you. But really, you can't give what you don't have. So if you don't fill your cup first, you can't actually give the full cup. So if your cup is only 20% full, you can be giving 100%, but you're only giving 20 because you can't actually give what you don't have inside you. So You can't control people, you can't control politics, but we do give it so much energy and get upset about it where we make it bigger. So we fuel it. So really, it comes down to so many times we're being asked this. And people always say, well, you know, but my partner makes me do this and my parents make me do it. Nobody can make you do anything you do not want to do. We just accept it or allow it or get upset about it. But really, nobody can make us do anything. It's our choice. We always, always, always have a choice. Now, okay, somebody may say, well, if I choose this, this will happen. Yes, it's not always the greatest outcome, but we still have a choice. I'll hand it back to you.
Yes, we always have a choice. And just being reminded of a story that brings us a little bit away from the topic, and yet it still has a connection. Many years ago, there was a guy in Las Vegas with his family, and he was being on vacation. And what I think the family must have known, but he was a gambler, so he played all the time, everywhere. And of course, Las Vegas is poison if you are a gambler or if you're addicted to gambling. Let's put it like that. So of course, one night a guy went to a casino and sat on a table and spent the money he had. And as he had no winning strike, he thought he'd get some more money. And he really boosted the credit card limit to the limit. The house was already mortgaged. So in this one night, he really lost every penny that he has and every penny that he could his hands on. So he decided to end his life because life made no sense. He could not go back to the family in the hotel room and nothing made sense. And on the way out of the casino, finding a good spot to kill himself, he decided to go for a pee because he, of course, was drinking stuff and it's free in the casino. So he had to unload himself and go to the toilet. And as this has been many years ago, the only chance to enter a toilet was you put 25 cents into the small thingy at the door in the toilet. But as he was broke, he had no 25 cents. So he stood in front of the door and he complained and mourned and was totally frustrated. And a guy washing his hands heard that and he said, here, I give you 25 cents that you can go into the toilet. I'm very sorry that you lost all your money, and left. So the guy had 25 cents and he walked to the toilet door, almost putting the coin in. And another toilet door opened. And the guy that came out said, brother, you can go in here. It's free. So he went in, he put the coin into his pocket, he did his business on the toilet, and he left. And of course, walking through the casino, being addicted, now he had 25 cents. What does a gambler do when he has 25 cents? Of course, he puts it in a slot machine on the way out. And to make a very long intro short, of course, he hit the jackpot, $1 million on the machine. So he went to the craps table and he rolled the dice and he won again. His numbers came. And he did it again and again and again and again. And he won round after round after round. And after a couple minutes, his family was standing next to the table because the hotel called them and said, your husband, your father is winning here. Probably you want to come down. And when they approached the craps table, he was winning, or he had won $43 million. And the family, of course, at that moment pulled him away from the table, not that he loses everything again. So he lost everything in one night and won 43 million also in the same night. And of course, he was interviewed after that, and the reporter asked, so you must be very grateful and thankful for the guy that gave you the 25 cents. And he smiled and said, no, I'm very grateful to the guy that opened the door. And if you ask now, what's the moral of the story and what does it has to do with let me and let them? Can you see that somebody else that triggers you just opens a door for you that you could realize, where you still have wounds inside, where you still have issues, where you still have some pain that you did not work through yet? Every time you get frustrated by somebody honking the horn or giving you flashlights in traffic or saying something or saying nothing, whenever it feels hurt inside, whenever you're hurt on the inside, it has something to do only with you. and not with the other one. So instead of saying, I blame the other one, I hate the other one, I don't like the other one, it's the other one's fault, can you realize that this other person opened a door for you? And for free, you can walk into it. It costs you nothing. So many people around us, like Vladi said, the family, the kids, the husband, the wife, those who push our triggers really, really bad, they give us coaching for free. We don't have to go to expensive coaches and pay millions and millions of dollars to get to the next level. Everyone in our surrounding is a great coach if you stop blaming the other and just realizing, oh, they are a great teacher at this moment, because if it hurts within me, the issue is within me, so the only solution is I solve and heal it within me rather than pointing my fingers to the other person on the outside.
I love the story. I have never heard the story. By the way, I Googled it and it's craps.
Right.
You can tell that me and Norman don't play. Although I do like poker on the nights of a school ball. I'm always by the poker table. But you know what it is? It's also, I love what Norman said, because I've heard a saying, when we're asking for patience or praying for more patience, or, you know, like feeling gratitude, like we want more patience or we want more money, whatever we're asking for, we're actually in situations every day that actually can help us to be patient. You know, like kids not being patient means that you're practicing your patience, and we're putting the focus somewhere else. We blame the people around us, what's happening, and it's usually the noisy minds, the ones who keep blaming you. This is your fault, and you're not doing this, and you always do certain things to me. It's because they hurt. And you know, like when you raise your consciousness and you really look at this, you're like, why are they seeing this? It's because they haven't worked on it. And I'm going to say that worked on it lovingly, but really the biggest transformation happened for me when I took responsibility that if I don't like something in my life, I don't like the results, I don't like what's happening, I have to change it. I can't expect someone else. And this is a very common in spouses or partners or marriages and kids. It's like, oh, it's her fault. It's his fault. If he didn't do that, then I would be better. No, you wouldn't, because you need to be better even without him not doing it or her doing it. But if we keep pointing fingers, and I remember our mentor, Bob Proctor, said, blaming is the most dangerous game you can play. You want more love? Like, are you creating situations that actually give you more love? You want a partner to respect you. Are you respecting them enough? It's the cause and law. It's a cause and effect law. But you know, this is we're expecting certain people to change their behaviors, but we should start inside of ourselves. If you don't shift inside you, then nothing changes. Going back to Norman's theme on the switching, it's like the hot coal. I'm pretty sure you've heard the saying. It's like you get upset because somebody does something, or somebody makes you angry, or somebody cuts in front of you in a car, or whatever it is that really pushes your buttons, how we say. By us getting angry and feeling hate or angriness or whatever negative emotion that is, it's like picking up a hot coal and throwing it, but the only person who gets burned is you. Because those people may be already cutting in front of you. Maybe they're rushing somewhere. They might be justified. And they, in their zones, they're listening to great music. They don't hear and feel your negative emotions behind them. They just, unless you hoot them or flash light at them, but really, it's like you're in that circle of the emotions you're creating and vibrating that entire being of yours, and you're the cause of it. You can shut it down like this. You can choose not to get upset. Now, this takes practice. It's easier said than done, but you can actually rewrite the story you just experienced in that moment. It's funny because I was private coaching someone this morning, and this is exactly what I was explaining. I'm so proud that I can actually rewrite the stories I don't like while it's happening now. Now, it took me 8 years to practice. Now, it doesn't have to take you 8 years, by the way. It's because I haven't really been doing it right. And now I feel I found the way. But really, it's that approval need. It's that letting go. And don't worry what other people think about you. But you need to really focus on, am I better today than I was yesterday? don't compare yourself with other people. It doesn't really help. But the need for approval, to be loved, it comes from, and we're back to I'm good enough and self-love. Because it may have started in your childhood that actually you didn't feel you loved enough. And then obviously that drags with us for a whole life. And I remember, and this example, before I hand it back to Norm, I'm going to say this example, which really was an eye-opening for me, was when there was this specialist I talked to, and she said, you know, like how people need approval or they don't feel enough love is usually you hear parents, and this is a very wrong thing to do, is when they say, oh, I love you, and somebody says, oh, I love you more. And the young couples do that a lot. I love you, but I love you more. No, I love you even more. And I love you. It's a need for approval. Because I love you is a full sentence. It doesn't have to be more. It's that lack of feelings we have inside us that really cause us to want people to tell us, but you're the best, and I love you, and I'm looking at no other woman in the world. I mean, you know, like I remember 25 years ago, it was like, that's not the kid. You want the partner, you want them to be free. And really, when you really love someone, you don't really do everything that it's all created in your mind. So the need for approval is a huge thing. And it usually starts in childhood. We need people to love us. Yours.
Vladi, what you just shared about the comparison with other things and other people, there's a 100% guarantee to become or stay unhappy in your life if you start and continue to compare yourself to other people. Mel Robbins also talks about that this is a big issue. So if somebody has more followers on Instagram, or if somebody has a more beautiful house or more beautiful dress, let them have a more beautiful dress. And she suggests just see them as teachers. If they move ahead, if they just started and you're in the business since 20 years and this one new person has more success in 1 month than you in 20 years, let them have more success and be grateful, because you can see how it works nowadays rather than you being stuck with your old routine that supposedly does not really work. And Vladi also mentioned changing the story. I was reminded, we talked about that in another podcast with a different story. Still, if you imagine somebody honks the horn at you or flashes the lights or cuts you off in traffic, it's usually the story you tell yourself and you compare yourself with. You say, oh, I'm a decent driver and I would never do that. You compare yourself with the other person and you put your rules and your values on top of all the others. And if they don't behave like you would behave, they're totally off track rather than leaving them as they are. And if you would know the story behind the driver, maybe your perception would change, because in your mind he's just stupid or silly or not polite or whatever you want to point out. But if you would know that their sick child is on the backseat and they need to go to the hospital right now, right away, you would change your opinion, right? You would say, oh, of course, then it's totally okay to drive like that. Maybe this is the case, maybe not. So we realize again, there's no right or wrong, there's no truth and no untruth. It's what your own mind makes out of it. And how we put our own world onto other people's world. It's interesting. I watched the other day Love is Blind UK, the UK edition. And there's one guy or one couple, and he's, I think, a trainer in the military, so very strict about his diet and his food. And maybe she's a pilot. I'm not quite sure. So she's not so much into health. She says she cannot really eat always that healthy due to her travels and all those things. They went grocery shopping together, and it was so interesting to see how their beautiful relationship up to this point became the first crack, because she said in the cake section of the shopping store, oh, this is my world, this is my thing, and you could see in his face like, not really. One bite has over 600 calories. I would never eat that. So they were discussing about what he usually eats and what she eats, and then they started not really fighting, but she said, oh, this one thing is coming with us. And he said, for sure not. And then the episode ended, of course, big cliffhanger, and I did not continue. And still it fits so good in what we just currently speak about. Can you just let them be like how they are? And if they want to eat healthy, let them eat healthy. If you want to have a big piece of chocolate, let me have the big piece. But why do we get frustrated? that the other one has a different opinion or that I'm not allowed to do this. How about you get more open, you get more flexible, you get more understanding, and if there's a core connection like in love with the two of them, is it necessary that their choice of food destroys the love because they're both so fixed on their idea, on their thing, what they have, and say, this is the right thing and the truth and the only truth? No, let them and let me.
I love that, because you know what? It really comes down to, if we all put the focus on us and try and improve ourselves, we can't make other people do anything. And actually, nobody can make you do anything. So I'll repeat that because it's true. But really, what would you love? And that comes from when we don't need approval. We keep looking at other people, what they want, what would make them happy, what would make you feel more confident. Today I had this talk, which was amazing. It was like, do you want the new car because you truly want it, or because people will see you as more wealthy because you're driving a wealthier car? And this is how the inner emptiness actually starts. We build in our 3D world, which is the world we live in. We focus, oh, I want to have this best house and the best car, and I want to wear the clothes, and then people will take me in, because this is how majority of the society works. They look at you and they think you're better because you have a better house, and then inside you might have a completely wreck. And nobody really pays attention to people who are building the inner world. The type of relationships they have, the friendships, the type of work they do, how much passion they put into what they do, what they believe in, and who they are really as an entire being. But we do. And when you start hanging around with the people and start really paying attention, I remember when Bob said to us, like, choose 5 people you spend the most time with and you become average of them. So who is in your world? Because we give so much, but it comes down to approval. Because really, the higher you rise yourself, the more you love yourself, the more you really focus on what I can do to make this difference or change. And don't expect others. And really, it is the approval thing. So I love the Mel's title, but really it doesn't matter what other people do. You should really focus on what you would love. And am I doing everything and every day towards my goal, not somebody else's goal? This is your life, and you have one life to live. Why wouldn't you create the one you would love? And you spend so much time paying attention to all these people. Social media, I know we call it a necessary evil. It's part of our, and we're in it, like part of the business. But it's something I'm so not aligned. And this is the reason. We were talking yesterday, maybe that's for another episode. The AI. Now everything's AI manipulated. So it's kind of like AI is a great tool. Okay, fair enough. But your AI writes a post, and then somebody else's AI reads and comments the post. If we take away the human touch and the human soul out of all the conversations, what you're building is nothing. Because what is a hotel? Take away all the stuff would make you feel like amazing when you enter the hotel. They welcome you at the reception. They dare to serve. And you might have this amazing experience. But you take all these people away from the hotel. It's not a hotel. It's a building. So this is your life. Are you building a hotel, or are you building a building? And this is your inner world too. And I'm going to finish with that and have Norman land this episode.
I love what you just said about the hotel. It's so true. It's the same with a company. The people basically are the company. It's not a building. It's not any contracts. It's not the official documents, how the company was formed and signed with the state or whatever. It just is nothing. The only thing that has value and that makes the difference is the people in a hotel, in a company, and the same in a family. And can I respect the other ones? And what Vladi said, can I respect myself? Coming back to self-love. Can I love myself so much that I say, I have greatness within me, and I'm going to bring out this greatness, no matter what the others think or say or do. I don't want to handle and take care of their fears and their excitement about some other things. No, it's their life and it's my life. And if we find a common way to work together, to live together, then all is well. And with that being said, my dear listeners or watchers. Let them and let me was today's topic. And yes, let's speak about AI in the next episode 43. And until then, have a wonderful week, a safe time, and we see you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.